Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you wherever you are right now. And welcome to another session of Bizarre Financing. I'm Gordon Bizar, and the topic for today is, are you ready to own your own business? I'm continually surprised at the number of people who come through Bizarre Financing Essentials. And when I have the opportunity to talk with them, in many cases, they are not ready to own their own business. And so I want to review that with you today, because being in a place where you're ready for the opportunity to seize it when it comes along is critical. And there isn't anything that would cause you to be not ready that can't be fixed, and fixed really quickly. So here we go today, and I'm going to take you through a self-survey and a checklist of things to do that will make you business ready. So when that opportunity is there for you, you can seize it with confidence and execute it successfully. I want to bring your attention to the message in the lower right-hand corner, and that's download the document from the handout section. We wanted this to be a true survey and checklist for you, so I wanted to have a handout that goes over the things that I'm going to cover today so that you have it in your hands. You can perhaps review it as we're going through it, but more importantly, after our webinar is over today, is something that you can now work through as a checklist to make sure you're on track to be business ready to own and operate your own successful business. All right, topic today, are you qualified to own a business of your own? And I'm going to go through 11 questions to ask yourself, and then based on your own answers, and you don't have to give them to me today, but you are going to want to make note of them for yourself, because they're going to tell you where you are in the process of being business ready. When considering the acquisition of a business, it's crucial to ask yourself a series of introspective questions to assess your readiness and qualifications. This self-assessment can help you understand whether you're well suited for the challenge and the responsibilities that come with acquiring and running a business. And here are 11 essential questions to consider, to ask yourself. One is, do I have the necessary industry knowledge and experience? Assess your understanding of the industry in which the business operates. So in other words, if you're going to go into a specific field, you need to spend some time with yourself and ask yourself, what do you know about this business? Do you really understand the industry that it's in? And do you understand how a business in that industry operates? And then consider whether your background and experience align with the business's requirements. I see so many people in my career here that are mismatched. They go into something that they know nothing about, and then they struggle and many times fail, not because they're not competent or intelligent or hardworking or any of that. It's because they start out behind. They start out where they don't really know or understand an industry. And even though the seller may stay on and train them, the learning curve can still be long, and the experience, if it isn't there, can be lethal. It can literally be lethal. First question to ask yourself. Second question is, am I financially prepared for this investment? It's an investment of money. It's an investment of time. It's an investment of your ego if you undertake something and don't make it work. It's a big investment for your family. It's a big investment to go into a business. You're literally doing something life-changing. So the question you want to ask yourself, are you financially prepared for this investment that is multifaceted in what you're going to invest? But understand the financial implications of acquiring a business. Now, we cover that in many ways here in Bizarre Financing, so you're in the right place to learn this stuff. You also want to consider if you have the capital required or if you can secure financing. Now, a lot of you are here in Bizarre Financing because you don't have a lot of capital, or you're not sure if you can secure financing. You may have an impaired credit rating. All of those things we have techniques for. But you don't want to remove yourself from the fact that business is about money. It's about accumulating money. The more money you have access to, the better you can be in business, the more success you can have. And so all along the way, you're going to want to be looking at, how do I get more capital into my pocket to make my business work? How do I get more capital into my business? It's a never-ending process in business. And the more you can get comfortable with your ability to raise money, to understand the sources, understand their requirements, do the things that are required to position yourself to accomplish this, frankly, the more successful you're going to be. Also, think about your ability to manage financial risk. I talk to, again, people all the time. They got capital, they have the ability to get loans and financing, but they're paranoid about financial risk. Putting their signature on a piece of paper that could obligate them is paralyzing. If you're that way, you got to get past that. You got to get past that in order to be successful in a business. Your ability to manage financial risk, to undertake it properly, but not be afraid of it when the opportunities are there and the time comes, is again a very essential part of your preparation to be a business owner. Third question is, do I possess leadership and management skills? If all your life you have found yourselves in positions where people were telling you what to do, and now maybe you're upset, you want to be in a business because you don't want anybody telling you what to do anymore, but you've never been in a position of leadership, or you've never been in a position where you've had to develop management skills, then this is a critical area that you're going to have to address before you waltz into your business of your own, because this is where these characteristics have to be present in you. And you might want to be thinking about the experiences you need to have to prepare you for business ownership. So you want to evaluate your capacity to lead and manage a team. This includes your ability to motivate employees, manage resources, and navigate business challenges. All of those things, you got to have a comfort factor with them if you really want to see yourself as prepared to own your own business. Number 4 is, how strong are my financial management skills? You're going to be managing money. That's what you do in business. And you want to consider your ability to manage a budget, understand financial statements, and make informed decisions. Now, I have to tell you, I talk to people who have been in business for years, 10, 20 years, and they can't read a financial statement. I can also tell you these people never grew their businesses. They remain mama, papa, small operations. Since the day they took over the business, or since the day they started the business, they never advanced because they didn't understand what a financial statement tells them about their business and how to make decisions based on what those numbers tell you. And I tell them all the time, look, you got to take an accounting course, Accounting 101. You don't have to be an accountant. You have to have an ability to understand figures, to look at a financial statement, being able to look at it and read it in a way that it's telling you where your weak spots are, where your strengths are, where you're underperforming. All those things are important, and they can come right out of that financial statement. Now, again, in Bizar Financing Pro, we have a whole section on reading a financial statement, and we make it really simple, really basic, so that everybody can follow it, understand what those numbers mean, make decisions from those numbers. Really important. But before you waltz into the business, you got to know this stuff. Why? Because even before you're in the business, if you're acquiring it, guess what you've got to do? You've got to be able to assess the value of what you're buying, and that's going to be in those financial statements, in their tax returns. You got to have ability to look at those and understand what all those numbers mean, and they will scream out at you what's right about the business and what's wrong about the business, and you've got to be able to read that if you're going to be in the business of your own. Question number 5, am I prepared for the time commitment and personal sacrifices? Again, I talk to people all the time who have, up till now or up till the time they came here, they've been employees. And when the 5 o'clock whistle blew, they wanted to go home. And they didn't work Saturdays, they didn't work Sundays, they didn't take work home with them. They understood that their families came first. I still think an entrepreneur's family may come first, but you're going to be making some serious time commitments to a business. And the personal sacrifices that you and your family may be asked to make need to be understood. Running a business often requires long hours and significant personal sacrifice. And it especially requires that in the early days of your business, whether you're starting it or whether you're acquiring it. You got to get your sleeves rolled up. You got to dig in there. You got to understand every aspect of what's going on. You've got to check the things that are happening. Even if you have people handling things for you, you got to be able to follow up and supervise them. And you can't let anything slide because it's your money on the line when you own the business, nobody else's. And employees, even if they work for you, even if they're good employees, it's not their money, and they don't perceive things, they don't handle things quite the same as you want them handled and as you would handle them. And until you get great people working for you, and until you have great systems in your business, you're going to be spending a significant amount of time handling those areas where only the person whose money is at risk, whose business is at risk, will pay that level of attention. And reflect on your willingness and ability to commit the necessary time and energy. If you're saying to yourself, oh, look, I love football, I love sailing, I love skiing, that's where I'm spending my time, on the golf course, guess what? You're not ready to own a business because your time has to be committed to the building of that business, especially in the early days. Can I handle stress and uncertainty? This is important because business ownership can be unpredictable and stressful. That's the nature of business. No matter how big you get, it's always going to be true. And even when you're big and you have teams of people working for you and you're successful and rolling, business is unpredictable. You don't know what the competition is going to come up with. You don't know when something's going to happen to your supply chain and all of a sudden you're virtually out of business because you can't get your product or the parts to manufacture the rest of your inventory of final products. And so it's stressful, and access your ability to cope with uncertainty and make decisions under pressure. Some people get paralyzed when they're under pressure. They can't make a decision, and they vacillate and they go back and forth and they flip and they flop. Can't do that if you're going to run a business. You've got to be able to get your arms around a problem, cope with the uncertainty, understand you'll make wrong decisions and you'll fix them as soon as you see that they're wrong. And you got to be able to make the decisions under pressure. You can't go home and have a hot drink. Okay, you got to be able to just simply beyond it, deal with it. Question number 7 is, do I have effective problem solving and decision making skills? You will know that because you've done things in the past that show you have that you're a good problem solver. You see what's wrong very quickly. You're innovative in how do you come up with a solution. You'll try some things. If they don't work, you'll retry something a little different, and you'll keep working it until you solve it. And then having the decision making skills to actually make that decision and make it in a way that's flexible, but yet assertive enough that it has a chance to succeed, but being willing to change if it doesn't. Consider your ability to analyze situations, solve problems, and make strategic decisions. All right, question number 8. Am I adaptable and willing to learn? Now, I'm an old guy. I joke around about that, but I've been in business for 55 years plus. So I'm at an age where people are supposed to be fixed in their ways. They're supposed to be not very malleable. I have to tell you, I am, and I remain adaptable and willing to learn. Not a day goes by in my life that I'm not willing to learn something new. In fact, seek out things new to learn because the economy changes, the marketplace changes, people change, rules and regulations change, technology changes. Everything you do today is changing so fast that if you aren't adaptable and willing to learn constantly, then you're going to get left behind in that business. And so adopting that attitude towards life that I'm adaptable and willing to learn, and I never think I know so much that there's nothing more for me to learn. Can't be in that place. The business environment is constantly changing. And so reflect on your willingness to adapt, learn new skills, and evolve with the business, because your business is among the things that will be changing. The way it works, who's employed there, who your suppliers are, who your customers are. Everything's going to be changing. Everything, constantly. And you've got to be able to flow with that. Number 9, do I have a clear vision and goals for the business? Without vision, the people perish. And it's also true about businesses. You need to have a clear vision for what you want this business to be, what you see its end products are, what is the goals for that business, what your mission is. You should have a vision statement and a mission statement for your business so that they're clear and you can communicate it to other people. And so if you're just trudging along looking for a business and then you find the business and you just let it go where it was going and you just try and manage little parts and pieces of it here, thinking you can fix this, fix that, it's not the way to be successful in a business. You have to have a clear vision of where you want the business to go, a clear vision that's consistent with what's going on in this great world that's around your business and how that world impacts your business and how your business impacts the world and where it is that you want that business to go. And then you got to break that down into goals that are reasonably achievable, that you can monitor and track and make sure that you're on track for the achievement of your vision. Think about your strategic vision for the business and whether you can align this vision with your personal goals and values. That's why it's so important picking the right business, because business has to be one that fits your vision and how you see yourself manifesting your goals in life through your business. So if you're going to be business ready, you really want to have a strategic vision for that business, and you want to be able to align it with your personal goals and values. Number 10 is, am I a self-starter? Again, I talk to a lot of people who have come through Bizar Financing for years. Remember, we started this first one of these in 1980, so it's been a long time. And I have a chance to interview people and to find out who's successful and who's not. And it comes down to, are you a self-starter? And that's a question that you want to ask yourself. No one will be managing you or supplying you with the pathway forward. It's you have to start yourself. You have to be the motivator. And you may often find yourself in a sea of uncertainty where you and you alone must discipline and motivate yourself. Nobody is going to give you a poke in the butt and say, get out there and do it. Okay. When you're into business for yourself, you are the poker. You are not a pokey. And so if you look at yourself and be honest with yourself, you got to be a self-starter. You got to be self-motivated. You got to be disciplined because nobody else is there to impose those things on you. When you're an employee, you got supervisors, you got managers, you got executives, you got a board of directors, you got people who will, down a line of command, a chain of command, enforce discipline and supply motivation. You don't have that. It's you. You got to have it for yourself. And lastly, number 11 for the questions that you should ask yourself is, what is my exit strategy? Now, are we getting in front of ourselves here? We're looking at the end and we're not even at the beginning? And the answer is yes. Okay? Because the idea of a business is you're going to build it. And what are you going to build it towards? What you build it towards depends on how you see yourself exiting the business. Are you going to have a succession plan and pass it on to your kids? Are you going to have a succession plan that allows your key executives to take it over and buy it from you? Are you going to want to just sell it in the marketplace? Are you going to take it public? In other words, what's your exit strategy with this business? Because the day you walk in that door, you have to be building that business to optimize it at your exit. That's your strategy. And if you don't do that, you're going to be wasting years building a business in the wrong direction, as opposed to having it be what you need it to be at the time that you're ready to exit the business. So it's important to consider not just how you enter into the business ownership, but also how you might exit or transition out of it in the future. Now, these 11 questions are questions that you should spend a considerable amount of time with after this webinar is over. And you want to sit in a quiet place and you want to ask yourself these questions. And if you sit at your computer or you have a pad and pencil or a pen in your hand, you want to make notes. You want to see how you answer these questions. And then a week or two from now, you want to revisit them and say, is this really the way I feel? Is this really the answer for me? Is this something that I can change? Is this something I'm willing to do differently? That's the purpose of these questions, because they will position you. They will position you to be a great business owner. You come up with the right answers. Be willing to seek advice from experienced entrepreneurs, mentors, or business advisors. The reason that this is important is no matter how successful you ever are in your business, there'll always be people who know more than you do. There'll always be people who have had more experience or had a different set of experiences that gave them different lenses that enabled them to see things differently than you do. And by understanding how they see it, their lens, their experience, and their advice can be gold to you, because their eyes that you didn't have, their ears that you didn't have, their experiences that you didn't have the opportunity to go through, all of which can contribute great value to the building of your business. So be willing to seek advice. They can provide valuable insights and help you make more informed decisions. None of us know everything. And when we think we do, that's the beginning of failure. All right. You never know everything. You want to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you are, people who have done more than you've done, people who have had experiences you haven't had the time to have, and you want to benefit from the insights that they can give you. Okay, now we're going to shift gears a little bit. Your 6 most critical concerns to address before acquiring your business. If you don't address these 6 concerns, you're limiting your ability to get into the business or succeed with it afterwards. So let's take a look at them and see how it is that we can address those critical concerns in a way that's meaningful for us and our businesses. Acquiring a small business is a significant decision, and it's crucial to address several key concerns before proceeding. And here are the 6 most critical areas to consider. 1, financial analysis. This involves a thorough review of a business's financial statements, including profit and loss statements, balance sheets, and cash flow statements. So if you're saying to yourself, I'm not a good numbers person, I'm not good in math, I don't understand financial statements, they are Greek to me, then you're not alone, for one thing. It's true of a lot of people. But you need a rudimentary understanding of the financial aspects of a business. And if you take a course called Accounting 1, you're not going to be an accountant, but you'll understand the stuff. Basically, you'll know a debit from a credit. You'll know what the P&L actually tells you, the profit and loss. You'll know how to understand income. You'll know how to understand expenses. If you're smart, you'll also pay attention when they talk about certain financial ratios. And again, we have a very thorough section on this in Pro, because it is so essential. Otherwise, you have no way to really understand the intricacies of your business and what contributes to its success and what doesn't. It's all broken down into financial numbers. On these statements is the very heart and basis of a business. And in order to understand what your business is doing, good, bad, or ugly, you've got to understand at least the rudimentary aspects of financial statements. Understand the revenue streams, expenses, and profitability. Where do they come from? How do they manifest through your business? Remember, you're going to be looking at a company now to buy, so you got to be able to look at those financial statements and see what's working right in the business and what isn't. Otherwise, you're buying a pig in a poke, as they say. You got a big bag that's surrounding this company, and if you don't have the ability to open up the bag and see what's in the bag, you may not like what's in the bag once you own it. Right? So it's really important to do this, and you want to check for any hidden liabilities or debts. Sometimes people say, well, if they're hidden, how do I find them? Right? How do I find them? There are tests that an accountant can do based on certain invoices and check ledgers. They can go in and do a search to see where evidence pops up that there is this liability, but it's not showing up on the books anywhere. So there is ways to do that, and you don't want to go into a business blind. You want somebody on your side who knows how to just do a quick check to see if this company has hidden liabilities or debts. One of them is in the pension plans of some of these companies. They have what are called unfunded pension plans or not fully funded pension plans. So it shows that they have these employees, they have all of this money put away in a plan for when they retire. The problem is it isn't enough to provide what the plan calls for. So when the person retires, the company has to pull from its then earnings to pay off some of that retirement. So if that's true, you're buying a company where you're going to be the one who owns it at the time that it has to pay for that portion of the employee's retirement. They're gone. They're not contributing to your business, but now it's you, not the old owner, who's paying for the employee's pension that motivated that employee at the time the old owner owned the business, not you. All really important stuff. So you want to check for hidden liabilities and debts, and it's often wise to involve a financial advisor or an accountant to help you with this, because you're not supposed to be an accountant, but you need to know that there are these pitfalls here that you need some professional help sometimes to watch out for you. The next critical concern is legal due diligence. Examine any legal concerns associated with the business. This includes reviewing contracts, leases, and agreements with suppliers and customers. It also includes any employment contracts. The list goes on and on. So again, you want to have a legal professional who's available to you, especially for your first purchase. Now, even today, I hire lawyers to help me with an acquisition, but I've been through so many of them that I don't need to hire them on day one. In fact, I draft most of the agreements myself. There are things that I undertake for due diligence and review, but at the end of the day, after I've drafted the agreement, I'll still send it to my attorney and I'll say to them, sprinkle holy water on this. And what that means to them is we don't want them to write the agreement. We're not going to pay them to write the agreement. We're going to pay them just to make sure that we haven't overlooked something silly that we should have caught, or that maybe there's been a change in a rule or a regulation or a tax or something like that, that only somebody who does it every day would know that changed. And so that's why we do that. But after a while, you'll have less and less reliance on legal professionals. But on the first one or two, you're going to be paying for the education. Okay, you're going to pay them, but you're going to learn. You're going to see what goes into the agreement. You're going to have these agreements in your file cabinets or on your computer. When it comes time to write an agreement, you literally take it, use it as a template, you write it yourself, and then you just send it to your attorney saying, sprinkle some holy water on this. You can do that once you've been through 2 or 3 of these. Ensure there are no pending lawsuits or legal disputes. Now, attorneys do searches for that. They have the software and the test services that enable them to go in and search for any of these types of things that you would have difficulty doing without those kind of services. Compliance with local, state, and federal regulations is also crucial. You don't know that the business isn't for sale because the city just put through a new zoning ordinance that now puts this business out of business because it can't stay there any longer. It can't conduct that kind of business in that environment any longer. So you got to know all that stuff. So you're going to have to get a little professional help here. But the point is, legal due diligence, without it, you could be buying a disaster. And that's the reality of it. Consider consulting a lawyer with experience in business acquisitions, because it's only somebody who's done business acquisitions that's really going to be aligned with the right information that you're going to need. Okay. Critical concern number 3 is a market and industry analysis. Understand the market in which the business operates. Analyze the competition, market trends, and the overall health of the industry. They're critical to the future of your business. You don't want to go in where the competition is going to clean your clock, or where market trends are heading in the wrong direction, or where the overall health of the industry is in serious decline. You don't want to do that. So a little bit of research work and analysis there is going to be really important. And it's important to assess whether the market is growing, stable, or in decline, and how the business fits into the broader industry landscape. So you're going to want to know all this so that you can acquire the company with confidence. And if you own a business, you want to go through the same evaluation, because do you want to continue to own this business? Or maybe it's time to get out. Maybe it's time to sell it to somebody else and research a different business to go into that's healthier. And then number 4 is an operational review. Look into the business's operational aspects, including the efficiency of processes, the condition of equipment, inventory management, and the quality of the workforce. What kind of employees do they got? Are they drug addicts? Or are they a serious workforce with high levels of training and education, high levels of commitment, loyal workers who've been there for a long or a reasonable amount of time, that they're committed to the company, and the company's probably treated them right along the way, so that there's a mutual affection of the company for them and them for the company. An operational review. How does this company function? Do they produce quality product? Do they have a high return rate because they don't know how to manufacture correctly, or they don't package well so things break? In other words, what's going on with the company? Truly, you want to understand all of its aspects and assess the business's location, infrastructure, and technology systems. Today, every business has a technology system of some kind, and you've got to understand it. You got to know it works. You got to know they're operating reasonably at the state of the art. They don't need the state of the art, but they don't want to be too far behind either. And if they are, then you've got to have as part of your plan, how are you going to fix that? What are you going to do? Don't overlook the fact that if you're going to change the technology systems, you have this thing called behavior modification, which is very difficult in adults. Everybody wants to do things the way they've always done them. You don't want to be the person that goes into the business, says, I know how to do this with today's modern technology and new processes, and all these things can be different, and I can take this struggling, barely growing business and I can turn it into a rapidly increasing, state-of-the-art company to be the envy of the industry. And the reason that you can't do that, or you certainly can't do it easily, and you can't do it inexpensively, is because everybody you got working there does it the way they do it now. They love the way they do it now. They don't want to change, and they will resist that change. That resistance can mean that you can go literally years and still not have your new technology and new processes implemented. And all along the way, you got people sabotaging you because they don't want to change. It's human nature, folks. It's out there. It's what you have to deal with. Operational strengths and weaknesses can significantly impact the future success of the business. All right. You got to know what they are. You got to be realistic about anything that needs to change. You got to be realistic about your ability to change them. But you got to know how they do it. You got to know how it needs to change. And you got to be able to evaluate that. Number 5, future growth and scalability. You don't want to buy a business that just stays the way you bought it. You got to grow it, which means there's got to be scalability within that business. Consider the potential for future growth and scalability. This involves evaluating the business model's viability in the long term, potential areas for expansion, and the capability of the business to scale up operations. So if they're still doing things with pens and paper, and in order to triple and quadruple your volume, it's got to go digital. You got to know that. You got to understand that. You got to know what you can do in that business and what you can't. So if you're going to buy a business, unless you want to run it the same 10 years from now as it's running right now and have the business never grow or never produce anything, you really got to look at this element, this concern, this critical concern for what's the future growth and scalability of this business. Also consider your own vision for the business and whether it aligns with its current trajectory. Maybe you're buying a company and it's growing 5 or 10% per year, and there's nothing wrong with that. They don't have staff there. They don't have people there. They don't have a marketplace there that aligns with your vision to double and triple your sales year after year after year. Okay, so you got to make sure that there's an alignment with your expectations and what the business itself and the industry itself is capable of. There's got to be an alignment. All right, and number 6, this is the one to me that's probably the most important. I shouldn't say that. It's just very important, and it's value added. And what this means essentially is asking yourself the question of what are you going to add to the business that will increase earnings, cash flow, and the rate of growth, because that's where value is in the business, okay? But it only happens if you add value. So if you're buying a business and it's on a trajectory of 5% growth per year, that's all you're going to get when you own the business unless you do something dramatic to add a new product, to add a new service, to change your process, to do something that adds value to that business so that when you own it, it's capable of increasing its earnings beyond what the old owner was able to do, increasing its cash flow beyond what the old owner was willing to do, and creating a steeper incline in its rate of growth. So it's going to grow faster and more dynamically than the old business. And it's because you added something to that business. And before you buy that company, exactly what it is that you're going to add and exactly what that addition is going to do to earnings, cash flow, and rate of growth. If you are using financial leverage, in other words, you're going to borrow a lot of money to buy the business, which is part of Bizar financing, we find ways to leverage all this financing that we need to acquire your business. And if you paid a fair market price for the business, all of the existing cash flow that comes with the business now will be consumed by debt service. It's an axiom, okay? You take the business, you paid fair price for it, you borrowed all the money to pay for it, none of it was yours. Now where does that cash flow in that business go? Every penny of it's going to go to pay off your debt service. It's by definition. If you paid market price and you're borrowing at market rates, then every dollar you earn is going to go into paying off that debt. That doesn't do you any good. Now you have no cash left over to grow. You have no cash left over for you to have a nice life. And you're going to spend 5 to 7 years in the business amortizing debt. You don't want to do that. So you're going to have to add something when you own the business. That means your business is now worth way more after you own it because of what you've done, the additions you've made, the things you've brought to that company that make it a more viable company that increase the cash flow. And now that increase in cash flow, the increase in earnings, the faster rate of growth enables you to pay down that debt faster. And as a result of paying it down faster, there's also surplus cash that's left over for growth and for you to put in your pocket and go to Hawaii with or wherever it is you like to vacation. So adding value, very important. So added earnings, cash flow, and growth rate are essential for your business to succeed because you're going to leverage, but now you got to add something in order to make that leverage really pay. So value added, very important concern. Know how you're going to do it before you sign on the dotted line to buy the company. Understand your goals and capabilities in running the business. Assess whether your skills, experience, and resources align with the needs of the business. And remember, acquiring a business is not just about its current state, but also about its potential and how well it fits with your objectives and capabilities. much bigger process than just say, oh, it's a good business that made money in the past. That's not enough. Let's talk a little bit about the 6 most important skill sets needed to run your business after acquisition. You need certain skill sets if you're going to be successful running the business. So you don't want to buy the business and then sit there and say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. I don't have the skill sets to do this. I better go back to school. You know how to do that, all right? So 6 most important skill sets needed to run your business after acquisition. So you're going to focus on how do you make sure you have these 6 important skill sets so that when you're in your business, you're rip-roaring ready to go. Successfully running a small business after acquisition requires a diverse set of skills. And here are 6 of the most important skill sets. 1 is leadership and management skills. Effective leadership is crucial. This includes the ability to inspire and motivate employees, set a clear vision, and make strategic decisions. Those are skill sets you need to have. You need to be comfortable with them. Management skills are equally important for organizing, planning, and overseeing business operations. All right? Remember, you're in a business. It's not just you. You got all these people that are working for you. You're going to have teams dedicated to certain functions. They have to be inspired, motivated. They have to have a clear vision. And then you have to make strategic decisions. Make the decision and you enforce those decisions, because if you don't, the employees will do what they want to do, and that's not where you want to go. Being able to delegate tasks, manage a team, and resolve conflicts is key. One of the single biggest reasons that people who go into a business, whether they start or buy, they get to what's called a plateau and they can't get any further. Okay, no matter what they do, the business won't grow. It's a plateau year after year. The business is stagnating. It might be making money, but it's stagnant. And the single biggest reason is, remember, an owner is a doer, right? They're really good at doing stuff. That's how they got into business in the first place. And they will give a task to an employee. The employee will screw it up. They'll take it back and continue to do it themselves. Can't do that. Can't grow that way. You've got to develop a skill set that enables you to delegate a task, monitor the performance of what's happening, educate and instruct so that the person understands how to do it well, and that there's a supervision process that makes sure that they do it well. And then after a while, what will happen is that employee will get so good at doing it, they'll do it better than you did. But it's got to be a process. It's got to be an ability to delegate and then manage a team of people, orchestrate between the team members as to what needs to happen. You've got good team leaders, then you don't have to do too much of that, but you won't get good team leaders until you yourself have been a good team leader and you understand what goes into it, and that you're able to resolve conflicts quickly. Because if you got people butting heads about how something's going to get done, you want to be able to resolve that conflict before it becomes counterproductive. All right, leadership and management skills, crucial growing a business, okay? So this is an important skill set. You got to work on it. You got to develop it. Financial management. A solid understanding of financial management is essential. This includes budgeting, financial planning, accounting, and understanding financial statements. So this isn't the first time today you've heard this, right? So it's really important that you have a background in this stuff. You have a comfort level with it. You may have an employee who is more of an accounting type than you are, and they run these numbers and they do these things, but you have to understand them. You have to be able to interact with that employee to ask the right questions and to make sure that they're undertaking it in a way that's going to get you the results that you're looking for. You should be able to analyze financial data to make informed decisions, manage cash flow effectively, and ensure the business remains profitable. I can't tell you how many people don't know how to read financial statements, don't understand the numbers. They're doing something and months go by when something has changed, and all of a sudden the business is losing money and they don't know why. They don't know what costs went up. They don't know what process slowed down. They don't know because they don't have a way to track it. Without the numbers, you don't know. Now, there are some things maybe that might be obvious, and you can fix those things without understanding the numbers. But at the end of the day, your business is multifaceted. It's got so many moving parts to it that unless you have good track numbers, unless you have what are called key performance indicators, KPIs, that track different processes in the business, and in month to month, you can see when those KPIs are shifting, and you know by the shift in that KPI that this is less efficient than it's always been, or it's not meeting the efficiency goal that you set for it for the next month. If you don't have that, you're trying to run the business blind. It's like flying by the seat of your pants. It's like getting in the cockpit of a plane and saying, I don't know what all these instruments tell me, so I'm just going to fly by feel. All right, that's not the pilot I want taking me in my plane. That's not the way that the business should work. Financial management, you got to sit in that driver's seat and understand it. The next area that you need to have a skill set in, especially in a small business, is marketing and sales skills. And understanding how to market your product or service effectively and drive sales is critical. Now, in a small business, it's hard to hire good salespeople. And if you don't know how to sell your product and you aren't the one who gets out on the road and makes things happen with new customers, new sales, new introductory offers that get people wanting to buy your product, if you don't know how to do all that, you're in deep doo, my friend. Okay, and the reason is that unless you're buying a company that's got a great sales team, you're the only one who's going to be able to get in there and do that. And if you don't have that skill, you shouldn't buy that company, because I can't tell you again how many people buy companies. They're not good in sales. They're good in process. So they work in the business. They improve all the processes, and the company's getting more efficient and everything's going well. They're not selling anything, right? So all of a sudden the company's income is slowing down and it becomes non-existent, and they go out of business. And they had great processes. They had a great product. Everything was wonderful, but they couldn't sell. Okay, you need those skills. And even if you've got a partner who has the skills, that at least gets the skills into your business. But somebody in that business better be really good at marketing and sales. And this includes knowledge of digital marketing, market research, customer relationship management, and sales strategies. All important. Be able to identify and target the right audience, develop compelling marketing campaigns, and close sales are vital components. Okay? All of these things are important. Number 4, operational expertise. Operational expertise. This involves understanding the day-to-day operations of the business. And what does it do? How does it do it? Who does it? What's the supply chain look like? Skills in supply chain management, inventory control, quality assurance, and process optimization are important, okay? Because your business has to be efficient. Otherwise, your competitors will clean your clock. These have to be things you have your arms around, and that you have the ability to look at things and see when they're not working right, and read numbers and let the numbers tell you when things aren't working right, and then be innovative, that through both experience and insight, being able to innovate solutions, all of which are built around operational expertise. Efficiently managing the operation ensures the business can deliver its products or services effectively while maintaining cost effectiveness. That's at the heart of your business, operational expertise. All right, number 5, adaptability and problem solving skills. The business environment is dynamic, and being adaptable is key to survival and growth. And this includes being open to new ideas, adapting to market changes, and being innovative. Strong problem-solving skills are necessary to tackle challenges, make critical decisions under pressure, and find creative solutions to various issues. To me, this is what makes running a business so thrilling, because I love this stuff. I wake up in the morning and I love to solve problems, and I love to tackle challenges, and I love to make critical decisions, see what happens, change if I have to, find creative solutions to various issues. If you don't like that stuff and you're not good at it, you might want to look at how can you shift your attitude a little bit? How can you adapt to having this more present in the way you approach things? But adaptability and problem solving skills, crucial to building a business. And the last of these is industry specific knowledge. Again, I talk to a lot of people who go into a business, and sometimes they'll tell me, look, I'm fed up with the industry I'm in. I don't want to ever see this type of business or industry again. I want to go into something totally new. You can do that, but now you got a learning curve, okay? And you shouldn't do it where the learning curve is in your own business. You should take that learning curve by going to work for somebody else who has that type of business, and let the learning curve happen there instead of happening when you own a business and now you haven't a clue what to do in certain situations. So going into a business, you should go there with a certain amount of industry specific knowledge before you buy that company or start that business for that matter. In addition to these skills, it's also important to have industry specific knowledge related to the businesses you're acquiring. It's important. Understanding the nuances of the industry can greatly enhance your ability to make informed decisions and succeed in your venture. Continuous learning and being open to seeking advice from mentors or industry experts can also be extremely beneficial. This is the second time you've seen this, okay? Mentors, industry experts can be tremendously beneficial. But if you have a learning curve to learn an industry, you want to equip yourself to learn it quickly, to learn it with a mentor, to learn it with a guide, to learn it with a partner. But you've got to have this, because if you don't, there are people who are competitors in your industry that have been doing it for a very long time. They've succeeded because they've done it well, and they will eat your lunch if you don't have a minimum amount of industry-specific knowledge. So much for the 6 most important skill sets. Let's take a look at the questions that you might have, having been through all of this. Are you ready to have your own business? Any questions? Let's start with the written one here. Do you have an affiliate program? I have a distribution network available. Darrell, send me an email to question@Bizar Financing. Yes, we do have an affiliate program. I have pride of authorship here, but I really do believe that our Bizar Financing is one of the best business success courses in existence. Our success rates and people taking our programs are very high. Please get in touch with me, Darrell. I'm happy to talk to you about that. Hopefully the information that we shared with you is valuable in terms of getting yourself ready and positioned to be a great business owner, so that when your opportunity comes, you're going to be stellar. Thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you on the next ones that we do, which are the 4th Wednesday of the month. So that's for Essentials. And if you're a pro and you're here, remember, we have a pro webinar also on the 2nd Wednesday of each month. Looking forward to seeing you all then. Until then, I wish you all the best of success.